Kylie Minogue. Every time I hear this song, I'm reminded of FD. Hand on your...
Don't.
All right, let's get serious. At 9:15 on the morning drive. Thanks for joining us on a Thursday. And today we're very honored and pleased to have with us in the studio Elisa. Right? Elisa Lim. She is the founder of a really beautiful initiative called Will and Well. It is an inclusive fashion label. Can I say that?
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we've got lots of questions. Will and Well. How and why?
How and why?
Yeah.
No, I think, well, if we go all the way back to the beginning, it was when I met a doctor, and he was an acquaintance, a relative. He was just looking for a fashion designer. I was still a student, and he was like, I see all this needs with my patients. Can you do something for them? I was like, yeah, sure. Definitely I can do something, but I do not know what exactly they need. So I did a lot of research. I went on this doctor appointments with him as he sees his patients to understand the dressing needs. And that's how I came about doing something for his patients.
And this was done while you were in school?
Yeah, while I was in school. So honestly, it's quite fascinating, right? Because he could be asking professional fashion designer, someone who is out there doing their thing already. So to me, I think it's quite a divine encounter. Yeah.
And then you realized that there was a gap in the market, right?
Yes.
To be filled. And then you actually went on to study, you did a master's in social innovation.
Yes.
That had anything to do with this business idea?
Yeah, so I mean, after I finished my degree education, which I then spent those 2 years researching to understand the dressing needs of people with different bodies and different abilities. And then I was like, okay, I mean, I knew I always wanted to do a master's. And I thought, okay, would it be an MBA or would it be this master's in social innovation? And I thought, I went on the open houses and all of that. I was like, okay, it's clear. It's social innovation because I am more interested in looking at how a business is able to, create social impact, and not limited to just fashion, right? Could be in any industries. And besides products and services, it could also be internal processes, right? That you can, make more inclusive and more welcoming for different people.
Was it difficult to start?
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, honestly, I wouldn't recommend
Running your own business?
When you have basically no idea of how a business should run. No, I don't have parents who knew business, so I had to borrow law books from my friends studying law on business law.
Yeah.
I went to the library digging around books to learn how to do accounting myself because obviously I didn't have the capital to also even get an accountant back then. So you just had to figure everything out.
Yeah.
How old were you at this figuring out stage of your life?
I feel like I was early 20s actually. So let's say it's been 7 to 8 years and we do the math, then that would be probably 23, 20.
Yeah, when you first started out with the business, right?
Yeah.
I have a question. The name Will and Well, how did that come about?
Oh, I love it. Thanks for that. So while I was setting up the business, I really felt that I wasn't too. I was feeling really not confident about the decision to set that up, and I mean I have a Christian faith, and I was really just asking, what do I do with this? And I felt a very clear, message telling me that, hey Elisa, if you have the will to do this, I'll make it well for you. Right, and then very naturally, this immediately became the meaning for Will and Well's clients as well. That if our clients have the will to live a good life, then we'll make it well for them.
I love that.
Beautiful. I love it.
Okay, so we're going to go on Facebook right now and chat more with Elisa from Will and Well.
So your idea is to be as inclusive as possible.
Yeah.
How difficult is that to do?
Oh no! Wow, that's it's super difficult, right? Because you see the way things are designed, things are made in today's time.
Yes.
Do not really very much consider for that.
They don't,
right?
yeah.
They consider for okay, what's quick, what's fast, what's cheap.
Yes.
Right. But if you were to introduce an element of design and especially thoughtful design for a differently abled person, you know, people start to, you know, it's hard to make sense when you look at the costing and like, let's say a uniform could cost typically $5 for a shirt. But then when you add that design cost, it adds up, right? And then people now wrestle with the tension of like, okay, I know in my head this makes sense, this would solve certain other issues, but how do I make sense of it in numbers form, right?
Yeah.
Because I was given this budget, or this is the typical budget. So honestly, frankly, even though it's been 7 years, this is still a challenge, right? People still find it very hard to make sense
Of the cost.
of the cost.
Like I could buy
Yeah.
something similar
Yeah.
that costs half the price.
Absolutely.
So why should I pay for
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
you know?
and also nobody really want to be the first person to test it out and to say, yeah, you know, I believe that this additional cost is certainly going to make a difference, right? So everyone's just waiting for like someone to start, you know, and then after you see the record from there, then like, oh, you know, they want to jump on it.
Yeah.
But you know, that hurdle is so great, right?
I want to ask, when we talk about adaptive clothing, right? What sort of, you know, what are we talking about exactly?
Well, so we try to make dressing easier for, you know, persons with disabilities.
Yeah.
We make it more independent for them, or more comfortable and more dignified process in dressing. But also the whole idea of inclusive fashion that we try to push a little bit more is how can that same solution also solve you and I, like both of our everyone else's dressing needs, right? So that's something that we try to push as we design. Certainly we understand that, you know, different bodies and different people have different ways of dressings, different preferences, and so technically you won't be able to solve everyone's problem, right? But we still try to push that in the way we design.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So you would take feedback from people with disabilities on what they need.
Yes.
How do you translate that into your design?
Also, so in for an example, when we do our bespoke solutions, imagine it as your tailoring. You go to a tailor. What we do is we co-design with them. So first we try to understand what their dressing challenges are, and sometimes if the dressing process involves a caregiver, we will speak to the caregiver as well. We'll try to understand what the current process is, what the current pain point is, what their aspirations, what are their aspirations, right? And what they desire from the solution, and we co-design.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, something as simple as changing out the buttons to a magnetic closure, right? It makes all the difference.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And like for myself, my parents, my friends, you know, people who there are actually a lot of people who own this magnetic mag snap shirts of ours. They just have so much fun as well, right? Because it's just so quick and easy for everyone. You just put it close enough, it snaps.
Yeah. Buttons are so annoying.
You mentioned bespoke.
Yes.
Someone's listening to us right now,
Yeah.
has someone in their family with disabilities, wants to get hold of you. How do they do that?
Well, find us on our website, willandwell.com, or, you know, on our Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, whatever. Find the chat function, chat with us. We'll get back to you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us something more about Be the Difference.
Oh, I love it.
Hashtag Be the Difference, okay?
Yeah.
So what's that all about?
So it's a running campaign that we have to match. So you can come in as a well-wisher who essentially is a sponsor, or you can also be somebody who nominates someone who you might know with the needs of our products and services but may not have the financial means to afford it. We match them together and we make our products and services available, right? So all of this is on our website as well. There's a tab, Be the Difference campaign. And it's, I mean, because we understand that, there's all this cost that's involved in the making, and there are also people who may have these needs but may not be able to afford it. So we're trying to bridge that gap and see how to make that feasible. And so we thought, okay, maybe we have a running campaign and we call it Be the Difference. Yeah.
How has the response been so far?
Oh, it's brilliant. So I mean, we're really thankful that we have like social workers that will connect us with their clients. So there has been many times that I would go into like a one-room flat, and then there was once I went into this one where the elderly was just lying on the floor with her diaper only, right? And it's just right in your face that clearly you don't even need to speak to them. You know she needs a pair of pants. There must be a reason why she's not in one, right? And it's because her caregiver is as old as her, has asthma, isn't able to lift that dead weight off her to put on a pair of pants, or even put on shirts and jackets or whatever, because firstly, it's not easy to do that when she is lying down. Secondly, she is also particular about what may help her feel comfortable and what not. Right. So there are all these different factors, and I've seen a range of different clients. And we're really fortunate that with the campaign we were then able to create these solutions with the help of our well-wishers.
To get out there and fill the needs of those who need it most.
Do you think the fashion industry in general is becoming more inclusive? I mean, you're doing it. Is anyone following suit, so to say?
So globally, people have been picking up on it, and we're just really thankful that people are exploring this business model. Frankly, I think people are still testing it out, right? Seeing what's the best model to go about doing this. And I think. We are also trying to do that, right? So we're thankful that people are exploring that. I do hope that, so a lot of times these people who do it, they do it themselves without much resource, and so then it becomes problematic, right? Similar with us, when we're bootstrapped, we're doing everything ourselves. You can't scale. Right, with this little resource, and so I think I do look forward to the time where more resource can be pumped into such models, or to explore such models, right? To make it really successful
and accessible to everyone. But tell us about this setup that you have. I know it's a very lean outfit. How many people do you have on your team?
So we have I have this trusty friend that I call. She's Cheryl. She is with us from when she was like in university. And she is whatever you see on the website, on our social media page, it's her good doing. And she has been with us.
Hi, Cheryl.
And we have a few other volunteers actually.
Okay.
That has been with us, supporting us in marketing, advising us in marketing, branding, and stuff like this. And of course, our tailors.
Yes.
So we have like different tailors, two of them, and they support us when
just two. Wow,
unbelievable how you manage it with two.
Okay, we're gonna go back on air right now and talk a little bit more. Toto here on 1FM 91.3 with Africa, coming close to 9:30 here on the Morning Drive. And in the studio with us today, Elisa Lim from Will and Well. This is a local brand for inclusive fashion, right? And adaptive clothing for people with special needs.
Absolutely. And you guys run workshops. I want to know about this. So simple.
Yes, so simple. We call it that because, we're trying to make it, accessible and easy. So why we created So Simple is because, back then when we started, it was just us. And we thought, okay, how can we make what we do more accessible to people, we thought, okay, what if we can teach people the approaches that we take, right, so that they can help themselves and their loved ones, right? So that was the main intent. Anyone who is interested would come with a dressing problem statement. They would bring like a garment or something they want to fix. We teach them the technical skills of how to sew. We teach them design thinking, how to solve problems, and then we combine it by solving a problem by the end of the workshop. Yeah.
That is so cool.
In fact, the workshop's so simple. There's one happening this Saturday.
Yes.
Right? And you can still sign up. Just go to the Will and Well website and get your tickets. Here's a question I wanted to ask. I'm sure in your line of work at Will and Well, you've met many people, right?
Yeah.
Is there a particular story that stood out to you that, inspired you?
Yeah. So, well, we try to document as many stories that we have, and you can find most of them on our website. There's this blog segment that you can read the different stories. I honestly, every time when I'm asked a question as such, it's so hard to pinpoint on one, right?
Yeah.
Simply because, they are all so unique. They come with different stories, they come with different backgrounds, they come with different dressing challenges, and then we come up with different dressing solutions, right? One of them is Aaron. Aaron, how did I get to know Aaron? Aaron works in Apple, in the shop at Orchard. And my brother-in-law bumped into was there and then decided to strike a conversation with him. It turns out that Aaron already knew of Will and Well when they had that conversation, because a friend, Sarah, would have already bought something for him.
I see.
Yeah, and then that's how we got connected. But Aaron then, I got connected with Aaron, and we continued to just, foster a friendship. I wanted to get to know him, and then when it came to his wedding, he asked if whether I could make his suit for him. Yeah, and so we did the full, even with the vest and the jacket.
Oh, wow.
He looks so handsome.
He does look very good. He does look very good.
So, I mean, you obviously catered to his needs, magnetic closures, elastic hands, and that sort of thing, right? Making it accessible to him.
Yeah.
And he still, he went to his wedding. What a happy guy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, one last question before we go. What are your plans for Will and Well for the next, 3 to 5 years?
Well, frankly, God knows.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, my hope is that, we get to test a little bit more, push a little bit more. Yeah, we're hoping that, we can scale the business. At this point, we have tested so many things already. We have the data. We know what might work, what might not work so well. I think now it's, I'm looking for like a co-founder or some partner or
Investors.
to do this.
Yeah.
And hopefully it can fly.
I hope it does, because I don't know. You start when we earlier in this conversation, you received a message, and my personal take is, if you receive that message, keep believing something's going to happen.
Thank you.
Really?
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, and we're rooting for you, and the business
Absolutely.
as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Elisa, for joining us here at 1FM 91.3.
pleasure.
Find Will and Well at their website, willandwell.com.
Good times, greatest hits. 1FM 91.3.
What are some sounds of the night? And there's